How about that view you all are taking a look at? We're looking at gold tiles embedded in the indoor pool, the Roman indoor pool here at Hearst Castle. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of California State Parks, I want to welcome you to Hearst Castle, one of your 280 California State Parks. My name is Laura. I'm a tour guide here at Hearst Castle. We want to welcome you to another edition of Parks PE. Our theme today, gods, goddesses, and gold. We're going to do celestial calisthenics, reaching for the sky at this divinely unique Roman indoor pool that William Randolph Hearst built about 100 years ago. It took him 5 years to build it with his architect, innovative, brilliant architect from San Francisco, Miss Julia Morgan. And we're going to get a chance to exercise on the gold tiles of this Roman pool. Now, before we get started today, with about 40 to 45 minutes of exercises, a few items we need to cover before we get started. Safety and health are two items that are our #1 priority here at California State Parks. You'll notice I'm wearing a mask. I'm wearing that mask because I want to protect my co-workers, one of whom is currently our camera person, and any of my other co-workers that you might see walking behind me here today, as well as protect myself from the COVID-19 pandemic that continues to rage globally. Now, a lot of us up here at the castle are vaccinated. We're protected with that vaccine, but as an extra precaution, we keep the mask on. When we're indoors, we also want to keep those masks on. And because we are in the Roman indoor pool, today I will be keeping my mask on. I'm going to give a little peek at my face. Folks are used to seeing me unmasked because we're normally outside, but today we're indoors, so I've got to maintain that mask on. Now, if you're indoors and you're vaccinated, but you're with your family and your friends, if you want to exercise, feel free to take off that mask. But I will ask you to do this for your own safety and health. Maintain a good 6 to 8 feet distance apart from yourselves, social distance. If you're outdoors, of course, in accordance with the current CDC federal and state guidelines of the state of California, you can take that mask off. Again, so long as you maintain a good 6 to 8 feet distance. Another item we want to talk about, water. Because we're going to be doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 different exercises, 5 to 15 repetitions per exercise, you're going to get a little thirsty. So go ahead and get your own, as we like to say, hydration station water bottle, so you can take a sip whenever you need to. If you feel lightheaded, if you feel dry or parched in your mouth, you feel your respiration rate or your breathing rate is too high, we'll ask you to take literally a little breather and sit it out and join us for later exercise. Some other items that I want to talk about too, for those of you that want more of a challenge today, if you have access to some handheld weights or maybe going into your cupboard getting a couple canned goods, a couple extra water bottles, we're going to be doing some exercises that will require a little bit of extra challenge for weight if you want to go ahead and get some extra weight. Some of our exercises will be on the ground as well. So grab yourself a mat or a little rug if you're indoors, or if you're outdoors, maybe a little grassy area, or take that mat outside. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started talking a little bit about William Randolph Hearst, a 20th century media giant. He would be like what Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook is today, comparable to that young man, or Rupert Murdoch. Because he was so powerful, he knew a lot of people, he was very wealthy, and so he decided to build up here in a remote location called San Simeon, California, halfway between San Francisco to the north and Los Angeles to the south. Why up here? Well, because when he was a boy, his parents would bring him up here to San Simeon. He was born and raised in San Francisco, and they would summer down here in San Simeon. His father had purchased about 40,000 acres, and so young William, as a boy, would learn to love how to shoot and ride horses and camp out. So this, for him, William Randolph Hearst, is a childhood dream come true. And this Roman indoor pool that we're standing at, built between 1927 and 1932, is one of those childhood dream fantasies come true. So any good exercise program has warm up and cool down. We're going to do that right now. And in the meantime, our camera person is going to have you take a look at some of these golden tiles. We're going to come over here and take a look at a gold mermaid on the floor. And you'll see this young lady right here. She is a representation of a mermaid. We are by the Pacific Ocean, so Mr. Hearst decided he wanted to have a very oceanic, Pacific Ocean, in particular, theme to the Roamin indoor pool. Now, these tiles that you're looking at here in this gold mermaid, they're actually 24-karat gold leaf. Now, what does that mean? Well, it is basically like tissue paper thin, or like a leaf, thin piece of gold that is essentially adhesively placed on top of a glass tile, if you will, glued onto a glass tile. And there are, in addition to the gold tiles, blue tiles here, and orange ones, about 1.5 to 3 million tiles that were put together here by some of Julia Morgan's, the architect, her craftspeople. Now, if you take a look at the position of this gold mermaid, it looks like she is doing what's called a cobra pose. But if you look at her another way, she also looks like she's raising her hands in the air. And that's going to be the basis of our first warm-up exercise. So as I grab my hydration station and put it to the side, we'll go ahead and start with our first warm-up. So always posture is something that we want to keep in mind to any sort of exercise, warm-up or otherwise. And you can do this particular exercise seated or standing. So if you're just woken up and you need a little bit more time to get your heart rate to come up, and sit down and do this. I'm going to do this standing. So I want to make sure that when I'm standing, I've got what's called hip to shoulder width stance. So I've got my legs right underneath my shoulders or right underneath my hips. Right. All right. The other thing we want to maintain too, as I turn myself away from the camera, I want to make sure that my tummy and my rear end are nice and tight. So I squeeze the muscles there. I also want to bring my shoulders up, my shoulders back. I want to drop my shoulder blades down into my imaginary back pocket. Proud chest. You want to maintain that throughout all the exercises today. As I turn back to the camera, I want you to go ahead and put your arms at your side, palms facing your thighs. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring your arms back and then up. Just like what you saw with the young gold mermaid. So she's doing a little pendulum swing up and a pendulum swing down. We want to inhale up, we want to exhale down. Now, if you want a little more challenge, you can go a little bit faster than this, okay? Well, what if we can't go over our shoulder, over our head because we've got shoulder issues? Well, then I would ask you to go ahead and do a modification. So what you can do is I turn myself away from the camera, come from behind, place your hands behind your back, grab a wrist, and then push down, eyes skyward. Again, that tight tummy, that section, eyes skyward, and alternate by squeezing the muscles back here behind your arms, called the triceps, and you're pressing down and grabbing the wrist, alternating as you do so. Now we want to do about 10 to 15 of these. Have shoulder problems, you'll do this exercise. Otherwise, those of you that don't have the shoulder problems, you'll pendulum swing up with the inhale, pendulum swing down. Inhale, exhale. Want more challenge? A little faster. Accelerate that pace, okay? And if you want even more as you come down to a squat. Now, as we do a squat, you want to make sure that you're sitting back into your rear end as you do that. A lot of us, sometimes we tend to squat with our knees. That hurts the knees. So we're going to hinge and then squat as you come back with those arms, okay? As I turn myself back to the camera, here we go. Up, and then back down with a squat. And up, and guess what? You can come up with a jump if you want, jump like that. Let's try with this advanced challenge about 10 more of these, shall we? Count down with me. 8, 7, inhale, exhale. 4, 3, 2, let's do one extra. I think I lost count. There we go. Woo! All right, a little warm up there. Shake it on out. And we're going to focus back on that young lady known as the Gold Mermaid. Because if you take a look at her, looks like she's laying on her belly. And then she's pushing herself up. Besides doing the arm swings, she could be thought of as doing what's called kind of a push-up, a cobra pose. Think of a snake on the ground on its belly. And That's going to be the basis of our next exercise. So I'm coming over here to my mat. I've already got placed on the ground. And for those of you that have the grassy area or the mat, you'll want to go ahead and do the same thing. So I've got my feet at the end of the mat. Remember that posture, shoulders up, shoulders back, tight tummy, tight rear end, shoulder width to hip width stance. I'm going to hinge at my hip, just like so. I'll come back to that squat. Remember, use that rear end like you're sitting down. And I'm going to go ahead and walk it on out. Okay? And just like the young lady, the gold mermaid, on my belly, I'm going to push up. Keep what's called a cobra pose. Now, some of us might have shoulder issues with this particular pose. So what can we do as a modification in this particular exercise? Come up onto your knees, underneath your hips, and make sure as you come up, like your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. Lift those shoulders up and back, show them back, okay? And I'm going to have you go ahead and sit back into your knees, like so. Sit back into your rear end. You can do a little pose like this and stretch. Bring those arms up, stretch. If that's too much for your shoulders, bring the arms back, grab the wrists, and stretch like this, alternate. You want more of a challenge? Again, on all fours, we'll do what's called a little arch in the back, and then extend the back of the eyes skyward. We call this a cat-cow pose. So think of a kitty cat with an arch back and a cow. You can do this as a modification instead of cobra pose. But if you do want that cobra pose, you'll bring yourself all the way down onto your belly. Okay, elbows in close, hands at the side, and you use a baby cobra or a full adult cobra, which you have. Make sure you squeeze your rear end nice and tight, eyes skyward, and you'll come back down. Kind of a little push up, up, the exhale, down with the inhale. You want even more than that? Put your toes up underneath yourself, push up with that exhale, and an inhale, exhale into a triangle pose, like so. Back down, then back up. So, cobra into the triangle. If you like that challenge, try that one. Okay? So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to try the most challenging portion. We'll do 10 of those. Okay? So we're pushing up from that cobra into the triangle. Inhale, exhale down. Inhale, exhale up. And there's 2. Woo! Count with me if you want. And 3. Get a little bit of an arm exercise here too. Strengthening those triceps and biceps as you come up from that cobra pose into that triangle pose. Halfway there. Bring it down slowly. Remember to keep those elbows aligned with the wrists and shoulders. Try to let those elbows come out, because that hurt the shoulders and your elbows. 3 more. I'm getting nice and warmed up, especially with that mask on. Woo! Inhale, exhale, and back down. One more time. Inhale, exhale. And back down. All right. Come on onto your knees. Go ahead and pop yourself up. Nice and easy. You might want to go ahead and take a hydration station break. I'm going to do the same thing as I remove my mask for a moment. And our camera person is going to turn all the way around and show you some more beautiful tiles of gold embedded in this beautiful floor. As you take a break with your water, grabbing your breath, you are looking at a 24-karat gold leaf tile crab. Remember what I said about the mermaid? And Mr. Hearst wanted a very oceanic theme? Well, crabs are part of that ocean, that Pacific Ocean, just about 5 miles from here. And crabs are also the basis of our next exercise. So we're going to come back to our mats. And as we swing around, take a beautiful look at that pool. We're talking about the dimensions of that pool a little bit later here today. And we're going to go grab our mat. The next set of crab exercises. How about that pool? So, I'm back at my mat. I'm on my other end of the mat here. We're going to come down on our back. Okay, so Those of us have issues with our lower back. I'm going to show you a nice way to come down so you don't hurt yourself. Go ahead and face our toes towards the mat. We're going to go ahead and go into a hinge, squat down, come down onto all fours, kind of like we did with cobra pose. Then we're going to sit ourselves down on our side, just like that. Then we'll come all the way around, another hand behind us, and we push back, nice and easy, and we'll be on our back. Okay, we're going to do what are called tricep dips. We're going to work this little area of the arm, and crabs tend to like to walk both on their backs as well as their fronts. We'll walk on their back first. So, if you want heels into the ground like so, or feet flat, either way, make sure that you've got that hip width stance, and the hips, the knees, and the ankles are all aligned. I'm going to bring my fingers to close to my rear end, facing my rear end. I'm going to come up just like so. Just like so. Now we want to make sure the elbows don't go out. We want to make sure that those elbows try to stay in alignment with shoulders and the wrists. We don't hurt with shoulders and wrists. We come up with the exhale and down. Up and back down. You can make this more challenging by going a little bit faster, or if you want to, grab a weight, put it on your belly. I'm going to go ahead and just do my own body weight. Now, what if those of us have issues, this is hurting too much on our shoulder, or we've got a little injury of the tricep? That's okay. You can just go ahead and just do like a hip thruster, like so. Just push through your hips. Push through your hips, or maybe that's not too much for you, or that is too much for you. Please come back and back down. Even more so, that's a problem. Straighten out your legs. Bring your hands behind yourself and push down with those grips, like those of you that may have done with our pendulum swings with that mermaid. This will also engage those triceps. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our tricep dips. Those of you looking for challenge, fingers facing the rear end, feet flat on the ground. Come up with the exhale, come down with the inhale, and up and back down. This is actually a full body exercise. You're not only doing a tricep dip, but you're also doing a little bit of a hip thruster. We'll do 5 more of these. 5 and 4. Don't forget to breathe. 3. Number 2. Number 1. Hold the pose. Hold, 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 hold. And bring it. All right. If you need to, grab your water. Take a hydration station break. We're going to stay on our backs, just like the crabs. We're going to go ahead and lay down. Now, when you're laying down here, those are your lower back issues. I want you to go ahead and put your hands to the side like that, and then roll yourself down easy. Just like that, if you have back issues. We're going to bring the feet up, just like that. Now, the feet are real close to my hips, real close to my rear end. I've got to make sure that I don't have my knees coming in or my knees going out too far. And I want to make sure the hips, the knees, and the ankles are all aligned. Now, all we have to do here is just brace our core like so and hold the pose like that. If that's good enough for you, you can do that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and thrust up, like we're half a crab, just coming up just like so, and then back down. Thrust up, and come back down. Thrust up, and come back down. Now, for those who want more challenge, come up and do a little pulse. So you just stay up, but you just, what's called a pulse, just like this. You want even more challenge? Grab your weight. I got 2 weights. Hold on to them because you don't want them rolling down if they need to chin. And you come up and do the same thing. We'll try 15 of those. You want more challenge? Bring your toes off the ground. Really dig in with your heels. There's 3. Inhale down, exhale up for 4. Down, 5. You can make it even faster if you wish. Make it more challenging, more cardio. 8, down, 9, down, 10. 5 to go. Count with me if you wish. 2, or 13, 14, 15. One more time, just for good measure. Hold, 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 hold. There it is. Down we go. I'm going to keep my weights on my belly because we have 1 more on our back exercise. Involve 1 leg. Okay? Now, bring those feet in close to your rear end there. And you're going to go ahead and extend 1 leg towards the sky. You can flex your foot, you can point your foot either way. And what you're going to do is you're going to push up to the other heel and then back down. This might be too much for some of us, so if you want to, put that weight down and just hold the pose like that. If you want more challenge, you can pulse. Or as like one of our tour guides likes to do, she'll put weights on herself, just like so, and she'll actually bend her leg and then kick, and she comes up. So you can do whatever modification you wish. Let's try 10 on each leg. All right? Here we go. Counting down from 10 up. Inhale down. 9, 8, 6, 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. Good. Shake it out. We're going to go to that other leg. Okay? For 10. Up for 1, 2, number 3. I'm pointing my toe this time. 4. I want to give it a trick. Different exercise there with my ankle. 7, number 8, number 9, 10. Hold, hold, hold. Bring it on down. Easy, easy. Put the weights to the side. Again, for those of you with lower back issues, roll to the side and come up. Those of you that want to do a little exercise, arms up overhead, brace the belly, come over up. Easy, easy. Yeah. Sit up there. All right. So, crabs on their back. We're going to work on crabs on their bellies. Most of us usually see crabs on their bellies. So we're going to turn over, just like so, on all fours. Now, if you're feeling a little tuckered out, do the breathing. You can probably hear me breathing hard, especially behind the mat. And that's okay. So if you want to, just simply be a stationary crab on your knees. Again, hands, elbows, wrists all aligned. Wrists, elbows, shoulders, I should say. There we go. Again, your knees underneath your hips. And just hold the pose. Just kind of brace every muscle in your body. You want more exercise? Come back into that little haunch that we did earlier. Move your hands behind your back and give yourself a little push with your hands towards the air. Or if you want, hands underneath, your elbows and your shoulders. You can try the cat-cow position. Otherwise, you make it a real challenge. We're going to do a little crab walk. I'm going to get all my little toys out of the way here because we're going to walk sideways a little bit. Okay? So we're going to come up on our toes like so. You can just hold this pose if that's enough for you. Okay? Otherwise, we're going to walk sideways. Walk sideways like a crab. Walk sideways like a cat. One foot, one hand at a time. And then sideways back. And sideways back. And sideways back. Okay? I'm going to hold my stationary crab pose. Let's go for 15 seconds. Walk sideways, stationary pose, or your modification you choose. Here we go. 15, 14, 13, remember to breathe. 12, 11, 10, 9, remember your posture. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. All right. The core workout there. Crabs like the core. Crab core workout. Okay, guess what crabs also like to do? They like to thermoregulate. Let me take off my mask. Thermoregulate. They like to pulse when they need a little warmth. Kind of like the lizards do. So we can do this on our toes. And we just push down, push up, and pulse. Or just hold the pose on our hands and knees or on our toes. All right? Or if you really want to push up, go up on your knees, push down, push up. As you can see, I have problems. Or come to your knees, push down, push up. Choose where you want to be for the crab push-up for 10. And here we go with the pulses I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There it is. Take a breather. Finish out your push-ups. Grab a little water if you need to. All right. Now, crabs can also be like frogs. We get up on our toes, we bring ourselves way back, and then thrust forward into what's called plank position. Okay? So you want to get your hands way out on your mat like so, or in your grassy area, and you're going to come back and then forward, rock it forward. Okay? You can do a 3 count if you wish. 2, 1, and thrust. If that's too much for you, come down on your knees and hold the pose like this. You come back on your knees and do the same thing. Choose your modification. We're doing 10 of these. Let's do it. For 3, 2, 1, and forward. I need to put my mask back on. I just realized that. 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. There's 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. Working up a sweat. 3, 2, 1, 6, 3, 2, 1, 7. I'll put my mask on, I promise. Just a moment here. 8, 3, 2, 1, 9, 3, 2, 1, 10. Bring it down, easy. Grab yourself. Okay, brace yourself. All right. If you're feeling out of breath like I am, go ahead and take a breather. Let's go ahead and take a look at this gentleman in front of me here, who's sailing on a sailboat. Ancient Rome. Now, besides having an oceanic theme, William Randolph Hearst also wanted to bring an ancient Roman and ancient Greek theme to his indoor Roman pool that you see here. If you look right in the middle there, you see a boat. And you see this gentleman here, he's sailing on that boat. And you see a bird flying in the air there on the upper right-hand corner of this panel in gold, and a little fish in the lower right-hand panel. And he's navigating the great blue ocean. Now, he's also the basis of our next exercise. So I want you to go ahead, unless you need to take a breather, and set this one out, you can. But I want you to go ahead and take what's called, as I stand on him, a split stance. So I'm going to go ahead and put my legs apart, just like so. It's called a split stance. It looks like what we call a lunge or a split squat. Now, if that's too much for you, bring your feet together if you feel like you're off balance, okay? Shoulders up, shoulders back. But you'll notice he's holding a sail. And I've got a little rubber strip here that's going to be my sail. You don't have to use this if you wish, but you can use like a water bottle as your sail instead. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself, my left foot forward, my right leg back, put my tummy tight, my rear end tight, shoulders up and back, proud chest, and I'm going to go ahead and hold my sail just like so. I can just hold this stationarily, or I can go ahead and do a little pulse like this. If you've got a rubber strip like I've got, or I can go overhead and then back down. Now, if that's too much for you, keep your arms at your side, just do a split stance. You could actually go up and down a little bit too. Just like that. That's a nice little balance exercise. Up and down. Otherwise, if you need to, get your balance, shoulders on the back, put that sail out and go up and over. I should say not up and over, but up and then back to the front. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do the split stance. I like to do about 10 of these, and then we'll switch legs. Okay, so my sail out front, trying to sail the great blue sea. I'm going to go up and back down. Inhale up and back down. Let's do 8 more of those. Inhale up, back down, inhale up, back down the exhale. Number 5, down. Number 6, this is really good for your posture. It's also really good for your core. 3 to go, down. 2 to go, down, and 1 more after this. All right, switch it up. Again, you can stay in your 2-footed position with feet together, or split squat. Notice a bit of a balance exercise. Here we go for 10. Down, up for 10. Counting backwards. 9, let's do it in Spanish. Ocho. How many of you like Spanish? Siete. 6. With my American accent here. 5, back to English. 4, woohoo. 3, 2, or 1. There it is. Shake it out. Okay, hopefully you've caught your breath, because we're going to go into the most, in my opinion, exciting exercise on the gold tiles here. Our little guy here, he looks like the letter X. Look at him there. He's actually, one of the tour guides told me, he's actually an early version of the crucifix. Well, he doesn't look like a cross. He looks like the letter X, but it's considered an ancient artistic version of a cross. And this little guy, also 24-karat gold tiles, some of those blue tiles on the outside there, he's the basis of our next exercise. And I want you to think of a jumping jack when you think of this little guy with the X, okay? But you're going to scrunch yourself in, nice and close. Now you'll notice my posture. I've got my rounded shoulders, which I should not have. With this exercise, we're going to make an exception, okay? I got my feet together, which we should not have. But again, for this exercise, we do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come straight out and be like the letter X. Straight out, be like the letter X, okay? We're going to do 10 to 15 of these. But what if you can't do the jump and come back in? Jump and come back in. Well, then you go ahead and do a modification. So shoulders on the back, feet together, step out, step in, step out, step in. If you have shoulder issues, you can do that, or you can go hop in, hop out. If you don't have any hip issues. If you got hip issues, just go out, come back in, out and back in, out and back in, okay? If that's too much for your shoulders or your hips, bring your arms down, grab your wrists, and go back, and stretch like we've done before. Always the go-to stretch, okay? Otherwise, let's go ahead and bring those feet together, shoulders up, round the shoulders first, feet together, and again, we're gonna jump out just like that. 15 of these, kids, here we go. In like a little ball and then out. 1, 2, 3, faster if you want the challenge. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There it is. Okay, fast, easy, right? Maybe not easy on your heart, but easy and fast. So, grab a hydration station break. We're gonna go and take a look at another couple of gentlemen rowing down the river Styx, S-T-Y-X, the river Styx. Check out these guys. You got one guy in the back here, the rudder, and you got the other guy in the front who's doing steering. I want you to think of S-U-P, stand-up paddleboard. How many of you out there do stand-up paddleboard that live here in California or anywhere near an ocean if you don't live here in California? Raise your hand if you do. I want you to take a look at these guys, because they're just like the sailor that we looked at earlier. They got a split stance, but they're rowing, okay? Now you can do this exercise that we're gonna be doing called the rower, either seated or standing. I'm gonna bring a little bit more some padding down here for my knees, because you can also come down here for your knees. I'm gonna grab some weights. Along my hydration station right here. But you can do this with weights. Now, the idea here is to stand with your 2 feet together and you row down. And you row down, just like the guy in the back or the gentleman in front. If you want more of a challenge, I'm gonna do a split squat. Whatever leg is in the back, you're gonna row downward to that leg, okay? If you want to, you can come down on both knees, and you can row, and you can row, okay? Either way, you choose your modification. If you don't want to do the rowing, how about if you were to reach out forward and row back this way? Forward and row back this way. This won't hurt your shoulders as much, okay? And those of you that want the extra challenge, grab your weight, and you can row with the weight. I'm going to come down onto one knee, okay? And the leg that's in the back is going to be the leg to which I row. So I come up to this opposite side, row down. Let's try 10 of these, come way up, and row down. Choose your modification if you prefer to be in front, and row towards yourself, and do that too. Up for 1, and down. Inhale up, exhale down. Try not to rotate your torso too much. If you do this, we're trying to stay straight on. Keep your legs straight on as well. 4, and 5. Woo! 6. I didn't realize how hard it is to exercise with a mask on today here. 7. I'm losing my count. 8. 2 more. 9. And 10. Guess what? Up to the other side. So we'll switch it up. Great core exercise. Great cardio. Shoulders on the back. Rowing for 10. Counting down. 9. 8. 7. Faster if you want more challenge. 5. Thank you, camera person. 4. 3. 2. 1 more. There it is. All right. Whew. Take a hydration station break. Take a breather. We're going to go get a chance to see a wonderful god by the name of Neptune, also known as in Greek Poseidon. You might have heard that word, Poseidon, because he's the basis of our next exercise. He's also going to be a little bit of a walk to get to, and then we are going to go ahead and begin our cool down. So let's take a walk. We're going to talk a little bit about the gold tiles here. As we do so, enjoy the artwork embedded in those tiles. again, imagine that this was a hole in the ground in 1927. Actually had to be dug out, hard granite rock. And Julia Morgan and her great craftspeople were able to take solid rock and make this grand indoor pool that you're currently looking at, all the gold tiles. 5 years, solid rock, digging it out to what we see here today. As our camera person continues along, you're grabbing a little hydration station break if you need to, a little bit of a walk, a little breather. You're looking at a pool that is 81 feet across in length. You saw that in the beginning of our video today. 81 feet. That is about close to 30 meters, those of you that think meters, or 25 meters. The pool itself holds about 205,000 gallons of water. Now, those of you who have parents, or those of you that go out and purchase gallons of milk, 205,000 of those fill this pool, believe it or not. Now, you're beginning to take a look at some of the artwork, the gods and goddesses across the way there. Those are statues made of marble from the 20th century. The lamps that you see there, they're marble with what's called an alabaster shade. And as we come even closer, you'll begin to see sunshine coming through what's called the alcove of the indoor Roman pool. Now, the width, or in other words, how wide this pool is, up to the alcove, where you see that little gold diving platform, is about 31 feet, about 10 meters. But if we include the shallow end back there, which is about 3.5 to 4 feet, or about 1 meter, that's an extra 51 feet. So the width of the pool becomes basically 81 feet, the same as the length of the pool. And if you wanted to, you could dive off of that diving platform like Lady Gaga and her dance troupe did in 2014, but you'd be diving into a 10-foot pool. That's a pretty deep pool. You want to be a good swimmer. So Mr. Hearst, when he had guests up here from Hollywood or from international countries like England, when Winston Churchill was here in the 1920s, they could have gone ahead and had a midnight swim here in the indoor Roman pool. So take a look at that as you take a little break. And now we're going to take a look at the floor once again at one of the iconic Roman and Greek gods here embedded in the tiles. And his name, well, that's Neptune. And next week, our final week in the month of May for Parks PE, we are going to be at the Neptune Pool. And of course, Mr. Hearst loved the Roman gods and goddesses. Well, even though this is called the Roman indoor pool, it's not the Neptune pool like the outdoor one. The god Neptune does reside here prominently for a reason, because he's the god of the sea. Again, think about Mr. Hearst, that oceanic theme that he wanted here with Roman gods. And you'll notice the tridents, these three-pronged weapons on either side of Neptune. Those were to help Neptune rule the sea, or Poseidon in Greek is his name as well. And those tridents are the basis of a little cool down exercise we're going to do. They're called the Trident Throw. And we don't have a whole lot of room here, but you want to make yourself a bit of room, because we're going to go ahead and do some throws. And if you've got a weight in your hand, you're not going to want to throw the weight away. You're just going to want to hold it as you throw it. If you have shoulder issues, you probably want to do this without the weight. You can do this seated or you can do it standing. But the idea is to throw like you're throwing a trident, okay? And you'll alternate like so. Try to square your hips. It's going to be easy to rotate your hips and to hurt your lower back. So try to concentrate on keeping your hips straight. Now, if you're seated with this, that should not be as much of an issue. But standing, this might be. You can also do a little split squat and throw. The foot that's in front, you'll throw with the opposite hand. Okay? So let's go ahead and try 5 of those throws. I've got a weight in my hand I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead, put my opposite foot in front and throw with that opposite hand. You want to make sure also that you're parallel with the ground as you throw, okay? So bring it back with an inhale and throw with the exhale. Let's try 5 of these. And 1, 2, and 3, number 4, and number 5. Switch it up. Again, I'm doing my split squat. You can do this seated or standing with both feet together, all right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. All right, let's continue taking a little bit of a walk along the pool. as we continue with our cool down. And our camera person is going to keep on that pool as I take a little walk around. Take a look at the beautiful gold tiles embedded in the deep end of the pool there. Well, there's no deep end, but it's all washed up. But at the bottom of the flooring of the pool there, check out those gold tiles. If that looks like a night sky, that's exactly what Mr. Hearst and his architect, Julia Morgan, were attempting to recreate the stars and the suns and the planets embedded in that bottom of that pool. What you're also looking at too are some of the aquamarine creatures and some Roman gods and goddesses as well. Now, I'm on the opposite side of the pool. I've taken off my mask because I'm way far away from my camera person, and I want to make sure you can hear me. Now, this young lady here is the basis of our final exercise. It's Diana the Huntress. And even though this is not the original statue, it's a 20th century statue, she is representative of the wilderness and of everything that's wild at night and the moon. She is known in Greek language as Artemis. And notice that she is a huntress, and her friend is stag there. And that's the basis of our cool down. Stretch. So she has her left foot in front with her hand on her friend's head, and she's getting ready to reach back from her quill of her arrows there. I want you to go ahead and do that. Stretch from the sky, looking towards the sky, or like Diana, rotate your neck over to the right. Big inhale, big exhale, big inhale, big exhale. One more time. Inhale, big exhale. All right, switch it around. I've got my right foot in front. I'm sitting my stag on my right side. Back to my left heel. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate and breathe in deeply and exhale deeply. Big inhale. Big exhale. Big inhale. Big exhale. And one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Yeah. And there it is, everybody. Gods, goddesses, and gold. We did celestial calisthenics. It's a divinely unique pool. And you stretch to the sky with Diana the Huntress. Next week, our final week in May, we will be at the Neptune Pool, splish, splash, and the swim. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget to rehydrate, put that mask back on, wash those hands, stay safe, stay healthy. See you next week, everybody.